Hey folks, the Sonic Activist is back, and as such, I thought it would be a perfect time to look at the legacy of the PCG Float, his first console. Now, you all know the Sonic Activist is famous for having started the whole idea of a PCG console in the first place. There were already paper game consoles, but the first PCG console that I'm aware of anyway was made by the Sonic Activist, and his most important contribution was the PCG Float. It started traditions that have continued to this day, and we are going to look at all the different versions of the PCG Float and the games made for it. Let's paper... Now, the very first PCG Float was, of course, made by the Sonic Activist, and it is also the first PCG handheld console ever made. There were paper game handheld consoles before, but this is the first PCG handheld. Now, the PCG Float, it started the tradition of having Tutorial Bot as an icon on it, which seems to have become a tradition for pretty much all the PCG consoles that have come after it. The PCG Float has been downloaded by many. I made a video where I download it and assemble it. That I know of, there are only 3 games of it. There's Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, there's Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and Sonic Mania Color It Yourself Edition. All 3 of those games are available on the PCG shop as well as the Float itself, so you should check those out. The link will be in the description below. I still want to play the Zelda game. I'm telling you, first of all, I'm a big Zelda fan. Second of all, right before the Sonic Activist stopped being active, I was about to play it, but then it didn't work out because, I don't know, that's when the Sonic Activist went inactive, so it was impossible, but I still want to play that Zelda game. There's also a button on the console's operating system for float tunes, and that there are 2 actual float tunes that have been released. The first is called Kokiri Forest, which is a remix of Kokiri Forest from Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and the other is Sonic.exe music by the Sonic Activist, which is pretty sweet. I still use that song in my videos today because it's pretty darn good. The next PCG Float was created by JPGS, sort of in homage to the original PCG Float, but updating it and bringing it into 2020. It only had 1 game for it that I could find, unfortunately, which is Swamp Survival 2, a sequel to the original Swamp Survival by Detuned Paper. The 3rd edition of the PCG Float was called the PCG Float Smash. This one was made by Cold Brooding Werewolf, and this one had a very different design. So far, there's only 1 game for it that I can find, which is called Valorant. But now, folks, looks like there might be 1 more version of the Float coming. That's right, the Sonic Activist, in his first act back in the PCG community, has created an all-new PCG console, the PCG Float Z. The Float Z is now available on the PCG shop, so check that out in the description below and enjoy this here trailer. Thanks so much for watching, and PCG Float on!